All right. Testing, testing. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. The title of this video is going to be Returning to YouTube After Rebranding Plus Alternate Web Hosting Platforms. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Know you guys, some of you all are probably surprised. I wanted to give you all an update as far as what's going on, what I've decided to do for the time being. I am returning to YouTube. I have a channel, several channels on standby, and I wanted to give you all an update as far as what's going on. Well, I wasn't sure why the last video I put out was going to probably be one of my last videos. I was referencing as well, just in case anything happens to this channel. By the way, as I already mentioned to you all, what happened on my other channel to get you all caught up. Some of you all, where it appears as though we're not aware, because I am still receiving comments for previous videos that I've done. And just know, even though I'm going live right now, currently, I'm able to still upload on this particular channel. If you check the description box and you click on the link that said it used to be my backup channel, you'll see what it says. So that's why one of the reasons, in case you're wondering why I mentioned what I was not sure about what may happen to this channel. So what I've decided to do, I'm going to rebrand all together, which I've sort of already done. I'm going to plan on giving you all an update as far as what's going on. As I informed you I would in the past, I will let you all know. I didn't, ironically, even post the link for the last video that I did to any of my social media platforms. Normally, I could have gotten probably more views. I didn't actually post that at all. Just kind of let you all find out. I didn't really go like I normally do after my videos, but to give you all a heads up real quick, I'm still getting comments. And just to let you all know, I appreciate you all that still rock with me, that continue to follow the channel, that have stayed loyal thus far. You're much appreciated. But I want to let you know I'm not able to respond to the comments under this channel. If you guys remember in the past, whenever I would reply or respond to a comment, because I can't log into my back office anymore. Now you're wondering, well, how are you going live? Well, it's pretty weird, I guess. I never really figured this out when I first got on YouTube. I threw this channel together. I really, at the time, I didn't take into consideration. I thought about it that I was actually contacted through Twitter, different branding services, because I didn't realize, it would take this long for the global currency reset to happen, aka the wealth transfer. I didn't never thought we would be, honestly, we would be all the way in what is now August of 2023. I thought the reset was going to happen a long time ago, well over 5 years ago. I honestly did not know. Once again, that's some of the information I've talked about in the past. The revaluation of the Iraqi dinar, different foreign currencies, how they've changed, the process from private sources that I have. So they're moving to this digital currency, basically in a form of cryptos. And I've talked about redemption education, some other things. Did a video about emergency preparedness, but I didn't really focus a lot on emergency preparedness. I'm not an expert by any means in that regard, but I did feel it was important to put some information out there in regards to emergency preparedness. Maybe down the road, as I'm rebranding myself, the other channel that I plan to create, that's going to be more so a video vlog of myself. I'm going to get more personal, like a lot of people have. I'm going to show you guys more inside details. It's going to be separate from Dorsey's Resource, by the way. And this time around, I'm going to try to, follow the rules more so, as they put it. And I do plan on going over other alternative platforms where I'll be able to delve into more in-depth topics that are out of sight, out of mind. that's more like red pilled information, because you have a lot of people that are still programmed, brainwashed into the matrix, the regular system. And you guys know I can get deep sometimes, and I can talk about. I've been told by people, these are words that people that I met have actually stated to me. Say, hey, Dorsey, you talk about real high powered information. You know, that's, they say, man, you go really deep. I had a friend that told me years ago, he said, I think you spook people. Sometimes I said, no, I'm not trying to do that. I have, you know, basically, so my other channel is probably going to be called Alan's Life. That's my middle name. So I'm just thinking about that channel. I can encompass, or Alan's Life TV or something like that. I can, you know, cover a wide array of topics, because you guys know I've been asked before, did I have a central theme or something that I mainly focus on with this channel? And I really kind of didn't in a way I did, but not, because I had a wide array of topics like redemption, education, aka sovereignty, freedom, wealth transfer information, the dinar, foreign currencies, a little bit, you know, delve into different categories. So I didn't really have a centralized theme. You know, there's people that they have different channels for various things, but a vlogging channel is more so like you see a lot of those nowadays, because I'm subscribed to a lot of them myself. Believe it or not, like you've seen nowadays, there's people that will vlog, like I said, investment information, banking. I've talked a little bit about that. I guess you could say some of the information I've talked about in the wealth transfer, cryptocurrencies, is related to investments, but I didn't want to focus on that because I still don't know how to trade yet. That's a skill that I've, you know, always wanted to know how to acquire down the road, but it takes time to do those things. And I'm actually subscribed to many other successful people, different channels out there. You have vloggers I'm subscribed to where people talk about their lives. They're kind of like reality shows, but dealing in the life of one person. I've been subscribed to fashion models. Just to give you guys an example, I like Missy Lynn's channel years ago. I follow her out of Texas. I follow this trucking channel. By the way, a lot of, you know, women, females are into the showing they what their life is like. And I'm, you know, interested in those different types of things. And I'm thinking about, that's one of the ideas that I had in rebranding what I wanted to talk about, and, you know, kind of share that wouldn't really necessarily rock the boat as things that I've talked about on this channel would have, or the channel, my other channel that I already have kind of on standby, Dorsey's Resource. So just to give you all a heads up, on the other web hosting platforms, alternative platforms, preferably like Rumble, if I ever get a chance to, I am on Brighteon, but I didn't put a profile picture up there. I have a login username. If I'm ever on BitChute, I'm leaning more towards Rumble because Rumble has grown exponentially. I like Rumble's platform. By the way, even though I have a close friend that told me they still censor, but it's not, of course, to the degree like YouTube. If you guys don't know, if you're not familiar, Rumble has grown exponentially. A lot of the freedom channels or conservative channels that I was subscribed to, because I was subscribed to both actually years ago. You know, I don't have, just to let you guys know, even though I would talk about politics, that was one of the other topics that I would discuss. I'm personally not a registered voter. I have not been a registered voter since 2004. Proudly, even though I can give my way in, keep in mind those are my opinions. I know different people can be passionate about their political beliefs, their views, and stuff like that. And that's why I wanted to still be able to talk about what I want to talk about and not be heavily censored. So I figured it would be better to maybe focus more on that on the other platforms once I get more acclimated. I do have a channel on Rumble, Dorsey's Resource channel over there. And I only have 4 videos uploaded. So like I said, give me some time. I actually should have had way more videos over there. I apologize for taking so long or dragging my feet, as you all say. But down the road, I would like to, some of the, of course, videos I have over here, you know, so you guys can have them over there as a backup. And I do appreciate you all, some of you all that have already followed me over there. There's people, I have a little following, a small following over there as a micro influencer. I'm not really large as a content creator. I'm more so, you have influencers, and I would be considered a micro influencer. Somebody has a smaller platform, but I've been told by people that I was really big in some instances. But YouTube started some years ago, started suppressing my videos, the algorithms, like they've done this to many people, which I pointed out in the past because of what I talked about and things, and other reasons. I think because of people out there that have another agenda. I believe majority of you all, a significant portion, have been good people, supported my channel, but there's been a lot of people that are just simply haters out there that just didn't want to, and there's no telling they could have reported and this, that, and other, because that type of stuff does go on. As I've kept up with they call, using an analogy, the YouTube streets. By the way, they call it the YouTube streets because YouTube has its own world. It's become more popular. It's still the #1 video web hosting platform in the world, despite how these other platforms have grown exponentially. Believe, in my opinion, last time I checked, YouTube is still the #1 video web hosting platform in the world. So they do have the ability to pay the cheddar, because I'm still about the money, monetization. But in this whole rebranding process, what I'm decided to do, and I'm going to have to start from scratch, even though this channel is actually still monetized, even though I can't log in, I can't see my studio anymore because it was linked under my backup channel, Mr. Cerebellum, which was actually my main channel, by the way, over there, but it was under the name Dorsey's Resource. The original name I had was Mr. Cerebellum, which I got that name from somebody else I know. I knew personally some years ago, a brother who looked out for me. I borrowed, just came up with the name really quick. But that was like one of my side names, by the way. You guys may have seen it before. It was Mr. Cerebellum. Well, this channel was basically created as a, what do you call it? A brand, when you can change your channel to a brand account. And I said, next time, for future reference, I'm gonna have just completely separate channels altogether to avoid what happened in the past, to avoid this again. And I've seen this. It appears as though this has happened with another big YouTuber I followed in the past, maybe others out there, I won't say the name, where they have channels that'll still be up, but they're not active anymore. And I think what's going on, YouTube changed some things because this channel is linked to something called Google Plus account. And in order to have a channel, all your channels have a Google Plus account, but YouTube changed some features some years ago. So when I tried to have another channel recently take over this channel and be the manager, there still may be a way to do it. It was a lot of work because it's time consuming. The way it's set up, it's very confusing, and it's like I'm literally having to do tech support. I spent hours, and it appears as though this channel would not show when I would try to transfer it over. It wouldn't pop up, and when I manually would put the link in, and I even tried some other things with the Google Plus email, and it just doesn't recognize it the same way. It actually told me it didn't recognize that even though this is still a channel, it was created up under my other channel, even though this became my larger channel, because my other channel, which was really my original channel, was actually not active at first. And then when I decided to make it my backup channel, this channel was somehow is linked under that channel. I know it may sound confusing, but I'm going over this because I had some subscribers that are wondering what the heck is going on. How are you able to still go live? And, I'm just letting you guys know, giving you the updates. These are the changes that I'm making. Like I said, once again, I do appreciate, I believe the majority of you all, many of you all have been loyal. I've gotten a chance to meet behind the screen several subscribers, multiple subscribers, got a chance to converse with personally. I've also been on Telegram lately with some other rooms I was invited related to some of the other information I've been in. I haven't been on there in a while, as far as maybe a few days actually, but prior to that, I actually log out of Telegram. Some people think I may stay logged in. I don't stay logged in. I'm connected to different groups on there that I learn information from, I learned about related to redemption education. I call it. I don't use the other name, as you all know. Refers to sovereignty, freedom education. So just to let you all know, so I appreciate the love that I've gotten over there from different people I've had a chance to meet, and I do plan on getting back too. I've got different DMs, messages. I don't necessarily just like actual text messages respond to right away. I have to do a better job at that. But when I also respond to messages, I'm a person that likes to be very thorough, and I think things through. And sometimes certain questions that I get or receive from people, it's not necessarily for me, because I live in my head. I'm an Aquarius. It's not a simple matter for me. It's more complex when I try to answer, because I'm very thorough. I try to give a thorough answer, or just so you guys know. So it's not I'm ignoring you. If you follow me over here, just don't think that I'm ignoring you. I do see the messages. I do appreciate, but it's going to take some time. And because I've given information for free over there. By the way, we're over here. I've had consultations in the past. Big shout out to you all that have set those up. That's the only thing I offered in the past for people who wanted to know information about certain things. But over there, I've given very potent, powerful information related to my discipline, absolutely free. So as I told a friend of mine, when I give out free info, then you're on my time. I'm not in any particular type of rush to respond to the information. Just be appreciative. I'm sharing that as a courtesy, and what I have shared in the past has actually helped empower other people. There's people that are way more advanced than myself now, but I think I played a role, as well as many others, getting the information out there and getting better information. If you go back and look at my older videos, what I was talking about certain things other people are just now talking about more often. And I even warned people back in 2017. I shared with people, I was talking about 1099 back then, saying this is what you guys should look into back in 2017, before this stuff went viral a year and a half ago with that guy, Christopher Hauser. You know, I was sharing that with when that PDA information broke out back in summer of 2017 from Harvey Dent, Michael O'Brien, Extra Light, Triple Moore, and Jermaine down in Texas. By the way, I was sharing the information way back then, if you remember. By the way, it's just, it is for what it is. So there's been a leapfrog of the information that's being given nowadays, a leapfrog, and the technology, which I appreciate, has gotten far better. And I've always said two or more heads are better than one. I said you need teams of people, groups, and it looks like I discovered a very powerful group that they had already existed. I don't know how long they've been around, but in my opinion, very, very thorough. The way they break down the information, very concise. And that's what I said. If you go back and look at my older videos, I'm referencing to, you'll see, so I just wanted to kind of come before you all, give an update. The topic of this video is returning to YouTube after rebranding, plus alternative web hosting platforms. So once again, I do have a channel on Rumble, by the way, and I can't log into my back office. So if you guys want me to post links and stuff right now, I'm not on my desktop. So I'm just giving the information to you all verbally, but I can't transfer the links over because I can't log into my back office for this channel because of what I explained previously what happened. Also, new comments that I received after this video uploads or previous videos, I've gotten comments. I have to respond to those comments from a different channel, my channel that I have on standby that I've already rebranded. If you actually go back, maybe the previous video that I did, you can go ahead and subscribe to that channel. That's one of the channels. That channel I'm going to use. It's going to be basically the next phase of Dorsey's resource, by the way. But I'm going to tone things down because, of course, as you all know, you can't talk about certain things on YouTube anymore. And I remember Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter, no relation to my recollection, even though we have the same last name. By the way, that's a whole nother story. But he mentioned, just referencing to before Elon Musk took over, and Jack Dorsey, he was like the president or whatever. He mentioned how they were in these hearings regarding censorship, and he actually rebutted and stated he was aware that there were other platforms out there. I have a video that's like my main feature video on this channel where I actually mention that I've done several videos to draw traffic over there. I know YouTube may not like it, but hey, it is for what it is. That's my way of how I boycotted or fought back to a degree, even though YouTube was paying me ad revenue, but the ad revenue was diddly squat because, like I said, my channel had been shadow banned and things. So I'm rebranding myself altogether, but I'm gonna have a whole nother separate channel that's separate from my other Dorsey's Resource channel altogether. That, like I said earlier, maybe called Alan's Life or Alan's Life TV, where it's maybe gonna be like more of a vlog, and it'll be able to cover a wide array of topics. I'll be able to go more in depth, and I want to actually do consumer reviews. By the way, a channel where I'm gonna do reviews. Go over some things like a couple bulletproof vests that I purchased, different things, give my opinion, my way in on topics that actually draw interest, some things that I have, a portable power station, things of that sort. I want to do stuff like that, reviews, and then have it as like a vlogging channel that I can take questions as well, because there is interest. There was a guy I worked with this past summer. I had to get sent to Flint, Michigan for a detail at a place that was selling fireworks, and I got rave reviews, mad praise over the ballistics armor that I had gotten not too long ago, by the way. And I actually wanted to upgrade, and I followed up with my word at the time. I had even upgraded since then at the time, and I was getting a lot of questions that showed interest. And then there was someone I had trained just prior to meeting that individual who had inquired as well and thought that the company had provided or would provide this information. I told him no, and because I invest, I care about myself, my own safety, my own life. That's why I decided to invest in ballistics because years ago, here's a real actual story. When I first started working in armed security, by the way, I had at the time we had something called ADT. That was alarm. It was what do you call it? It was commercial alarm response, because you have residential, you have a commercial version. So the commercial version deals with businesses, and there was a alarm I had. I believe it was a Catholic church, something like that, some years ago. I think it was called St. Stephen's or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And it was a whole team. There was another actually of armed guards, but because there were separate details where we were like alarm response, which was separate, because some accounts we would have the account itself where the client would have on-site security, either separate security company or the same company that I worked for. So I was responding, and this is an actual true story. I showed up, and as I was getting ready to clear out, I met a guy, I don't remember his name, had a security team, cool guy, and he said he was like a supervisor for the company that they had, and they were like their own on-site security, and he noticed I wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest at the time, and he told me years ago, he said, working in this profession, even though you're just a security guard, I'm not a police, by the way, I'm just armed security. He said you should have a bulletproof vest, because there has been security guards killed. I keep up with other channels, by the way, and I found out there's a channel I'm subscribed to. There's a guy that works out of Portland or Seattle, one of those states, places, that he mentioned a security guard that worked at a hospital was murdered by a gunman not too long ago. And these actual incidences, and there were some other incidences recently across the country, by the way. So this gentleman I met some years ago, I remember, because I have a good memory, he was very passionate and humble, and he said, I make all my guys wear vests. So he was encouraging me at the time. So, and I didn't know how long I would be working in this field. That's kind of when I just started with this particular company. It was under a different name at the time, and he made a suggestion. So my other completely different YouTube channel that'll be called Alan's Life, that's my middle name, will go like a vlog, will go into stories like that. And I may tell stories and things that interest people, and maybe even talk about the other things. If you guys want to know, just inbox me, DM, because I'll take new ideas and things of that sort. But my other channel separately will be completely separate from my newer Dorsey's Resource channel. Will be like a vlog channel. That's what I plan on doing down the road, just to give you guys a snippet, a heads up, and completely rebranding myself. And like I said, to reiterate, I want to do reviews on different products, consumer reviews and things, because I have gotten brand offers. By the way, I got a brand offer from a major video game studio. Bethesda Studios was one of the last that actually messaged me, by the way. And that's something I'm not used to. There's a guy that, how you have these different YouTubers that help people create channels. And big shout out to Roberto Blake. A while ago, he actually read my comment or shouted me out kind of in a way. He's a big channel. He's been around for a while. He's just like Daryl Eves. There are YouTubers who their job is their whole brand. They help people basically get better views, help create channels, stuff like that for vlogging, blogging, and things. And he gives really good advice, good tips, just like Daryl Eves. He's been around for a while. His name's Roberto Blake. Big shout out to, because he shouted my channel. It was a while ago, video he was doing. I can't remember what the topic was, but he may have been using StreamYard, and he put my my profile up and a picture at the time. So that's pretty big, pretty huge. If you're a content creator or influencer for another channel of that magnitude, to acknowledge you, by the way. So that's why I'm just showing the love back. So he gave some tips and advice, and I take heed to that, and I do pay attention. And like I said, so you guys understand what's going on, by the way. That's why I'm considering rebranding my channel altogether. So my vlog channel will be completely separate. I'm considering down the road. And like I said, to reiterate, I'm going to focus on things like consumer reviews, but it'll be like a vlog as well, a wide array of topics and things. That'll be informative information for different genres and disciplines, for things that I'm into, by the way. I'm still going to decide, down the road. But like I said, to reiterate, things I think are essential with maybe emergency preparedness. That's things that are related. It could be maybe topics also related to redemption education. But I mainly, like I said, I'm going to talk about more of the high-powered information on other platforms such as Rumble. I am on Truth Social, by the way. I haven't got on this platform called Getter. It's like another alternate version of Twitter, just like Truth Social is. I think Parler was back, but I haven't checked. Parler has kind of been back and forth. I was on Parler. I haven't checked lately whether or not it's come back, because they were acting finicky. I heard they sold it. They sold that social media to another company that was owned by Candace Owens' husband. By the way, remember, he was going to sell it to Kanye, but that whole situation blew up. Kanye didn't end up making the acquisition, so it was sold to some other entertainment company, from what I've gathered. And I heard they were going to make some changes, so I don't even know if Parler is still going to be like conservative based, or if they're going to focus on free speech. Because I heard because of what they did not too long ago by shutting it down temporarily, they sabotaged it, and some of the people who were on the platform didn't like Parler doing that. And people will let you know in masses. So you already have, it's very competitive now. You already have other good web hosting platforms that can compete with Twitter. Just to think offhand, you have Mike Lindell's platform called Frank Speech. It's another version of Twitter. Diamond and Silk are on there. They're a big brand within themselves. You have those conservative twins. I can't think of their name. I think Don Borgino, a lot of other people, conservatives, free speech loving people, have left these many other platforms, or as in boycotting the Facebooks out there, Instagrams and YouTubes, from the mass censorship, the egregious forms of censorship. Just so you guys know, you have alternate independent web hosting platforms that proudly and gladly will uphold freedom of speech, by the way. Because I've gone over this numerous times, because I don't think it's right personally what YouTube is doing. They're forcing people, it's basically blackmailing people into really, and they play favoritism, to make a long story short. Like, I kind of touched on this in my previous videos. People that, compared to the information I talked about in the past, you know how movies give different ratings, whether something is G-rated, PG, PG-13, or rated R. You could say the most my information was, in comparison to those standards, was PG-13. Now, they would let stuff that was the equivalent of rated R or rated X information slide. Like, I've thrown examples out there with like Little Nas X, you know, and people, because they lean more to the left or because they have a lot of money, but they've shown things were far more egregious than what YouTube accused me of when they sent the email to me that took my other channel down. And I'm still in the process of challenging it. By the way, I contacted someone from YouTube. I was able to reach a live person. They didn't send a response email that the lady told me they were supposed to be sending, so I have to follow back up with them again and see what's going on. But they didn't give a legitimate reason why they shut my backup channel down. It was very vague. And what they've said in the past is that, remember, hate speech is speech they don't agree with. When they try to say something is misinformation, keep in mind that doesn't mean that something is not true. By the way, I always give in many cases, I would give a disclaimer. I don't think I did in this video, but as many videos I've done, I always encourage people to do their own homework and do their own research. By the way, I've been very fair, and I would put the disclaimer in the description box on top of that. So for you to single me out, as well as they've done many others, and as compliant as I was, and then suppressing my channel and the algorithms, as you guys told me many years ago, when I used to use that other email address, Dorsey's Resource, at 2017, many of you all had emailed me, messaged me, said, "Hey, look, Dorsey, they're messing with your views over here, the algorithm. We see something's going on," because there's a way to get an idea and check other channels' estimated viewership. I'm familiar with Social Blade, or I've heard of it before. There's ways to find out. And it was very biased what YouTube was doing, by the way. So I'm calling them out. I'm putting it out there, letting you guys know. I didn't appreciate that. That's why I've been forced basically to rebrand myself. And you know, I'm gonna probably have to create a totally separate Google AdSense altogether, and might have to just start from scratch, basically. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. In the meantime, I just wanted to give you all a heads up. That's what's happening. So I am coming back. I'm not going to be gone for good. And I appreciate Currency 365 out there for all the love he's shown. If you guys don't know, you're welcome to subscribe to his channel. By the way, he puts out real good information about different cryptocurrencies, Terra Luna Classic, what's going on with Shiba Inu, from the XRP lawsuit. XRP went in the lawsuit against the SEC. It's not a security, by the way, which I didn't think it was. And many of these cryptos are not, in my opinion. That's something that the Securities Exchange Commission has acted as a bully, attack dog. And it's good to see that Ripple won their lawsuit, as they should have. And others, hopefully, I think Luna Classic was still in court. Hopefully they win their lawsuit or whatever they had as well. What's going on? But Currency 365, Gabe, I did see someone sent me a video he did to offer some good advice, and appreciate the input. I'm going to have to probably watch that again. Probably get I like some of the ideas he threw out there. I'm going to have to work on that. It's just throughout the years, behind the scenes, you guys may not be aware, similar to Alex Jones, I've gone under kind of attack in different ways. I can't go into all the details right now, but you all know I've still been on the graveyard shift, and I would have been so close to leaving that many years ago, and I was duped when I attended the Pastor Tony King seminars. By the way, with the many lies that we were told, that they changed the name to Kingship Manna Coalition, and told us and lied to us on numerous occasions that we would be funded, and gave an ironclad guarantee on numerous occasions. You guys remember I showed you guys the black card and stuff. I did that. I showed that on purpose to show validity. So yeah, I've experienced how evil, how demonic, and how wicked these people are, and they pose themselves as Christians too, by the way. And that's how I could tell from a private source I've had that I felt like they didn't want to get us funded in the first place because these people are real evil. They're very money hungry. They use the banking system, but I kind of laugh at this stuff too. Like y'all doing all this just to keep people from having wealth, and I always forget. It seems like me being a black man on top of that, there was a quote that was made by a former FBI agent, head J. Edgar Hoover, that said something to the effect that never let there be another black messiah after the FBI and the United States government was involved with the killing of Malcolm X, rest in peace to Malik El-Haj Shabazz, a.k.a. Malcolm X, Malcolm Little, Martin Luther King's assassination, the Kennedy brothers, John and Robert Kennedy, which the United States government worked with the Italian mafia. And there's a guy, a whistleblower, by the way, that came out. I don't remember his name. That did a video with the guy, and he was taken down by an informant years ago. So that's why he was able to talk about some things he couldn't go into details about. But he admitted, by the way, basically the mob worked with the U.S. government, and I was informed by one of my private sources that Kennedy they felt the mafia felt he turned against them, John F. Kennedy, because they helped him allegedly win the state of Illinois at the time, because it was a close race where I heard he had just beat out Richard Nixon at that time. So my history teacher I used to go to a Christian private school some years ago. My history teacher, Mr. Forster, used to talk about, he was a big fan of John F. Kennedy. And I love my history teacher, Mr. Forster, years ago at Evangel Christian Academy. Was real good, one of my favorite history teachers, and he used to touch on that a lot. And some of this information, I'm just comparing notes with what he went over, what I found out. But I feel like, when I made that quote that they said, J. Edgar Hoover made a quote or something, said, never let there be another black messiah. They also were involved in the Black Panthers, assassinate Fred Hampton, of course, and others. That was a tumultuous time period. And I feel as though I'm being singled out. I'm being targeted. And this is just dirty. This is downright evil. And the sad part is we have agents within my own black community. By the way, it's always crabs in the barrel out there. And it's also coming from our own women. It's not just, a lot of times you guys think of evil people, you always have the impression in your mind that it's always a man. But remember, these evil people can be are women as well. You do have real life witches out here. Demonic people, demonic forces, and they come in all different shades and sexes between. So just keep that in mind. There's people out here that are working to try to take other people down. They're hateful, they're jealous, they're envious. And when I was starting to shine, I noticed my channel's blowing up. You can tell basically sometimes I can pick up the energies because I'm an empath. I can feel other people's energies. I've been told this in the past. When I went on a trip that my aunt chaperoned me on to Puerto Rico some years ago, I came across an East Indian woman, and she asked me to guess her age. We were at the airport. We were traveling through. We were in a layover, and she said, she told my aunt was amazed. She was like, "How old do you think I am?" She was mentioning, sharing with my aunt the spiritual abilities that children had. She was talking about crystal children or indigo children. I more so maybe was like an indigo child. I'm also an empath, by the way, if you know about that. And she told me, and she said that was the exact age that she was. And my aunt was stunned. She was like, no way. She was like, get out of here. And I remember we were sitting down at the airport after the layaway. My aunt, big shout out to, had chaperoned me on a trip to Puerto Rico some years ago, which I had a good time when I was in second grade, by the way. So I feel like these attacks that we're getting can only make us stronger. And what they're doing. And you have to just be mindful where more people are waking up. You have allies. I've come across channels that YouTube hasn't got to yet that's talking about the real information. There's people that are not going to back down, that are going to stand up against the New World Order. I was taught about the New World Order, even though I don't attend church on a regular basis anymore. And I have information about that. And my reasons, and some reasons why I know where the true concept of where Christ Jesus came from. I know the concept of Asar, Aset, and Heru was later down the line when a conqueror takes over a civilization or conquers a people or civilization. Is different civilizations that existed. There's different time periods in a chronological order that oftentimes doesn't get addressed by these different groups that are agents, because they have masons and people part of secret societies at the top that are suppressing, withholding the information from the lower level people, because it's set up similar to a pyramid or network marketing scheme or whatnot, and they want to keep the lower ones from knowing, having the proper knowledge. And I met an elder who's seen the pyramids in Egypt, aka Kemet. It's what it was called when the conquerors took over. They renamed it Egypt. The indigenous name was Kemet. Ancient Kemet. Africa was Kush, wasn't Africa. These are newer, modernized, westernized names from colonizers. They went around the entire world, just like they wiped out indigenous people in Australia. That's where you get the Tasmanian people, and they tried to make the name they call. Well, you heard the cartoon, the Tasmanian Devil, that was based off the Tasmanian people. There's a lot of things, concepts and stuff that derive down through history. They put in cryptic messages, but the concept of Asar, Aset, and Heru was rebranded, rehashed into Osiris, Isis, and Horus, I believe. So I have to still go over, because certain books predate the Bible. By the way, you have to understand, you have to study multiple languages to understand this. You have to understand how things have been anthropomorphized, these allegories. You have to know about, like I said, to kind of reiterate, you have to study linguistics, by the way, other languages, to be able to connect the pieces, because what we're taught in modern day society a lot of times dates back to Roman, Greco culture, Greek culture. I have a book that was called Fossilized Customs. I got from another elder some years ago, and it breaks down like the days of the week, where Monday is named after, or is related to the moon goddess Mona. So there's a relation. I have to find my exact notes. So what I found out is connected to money, where we get money from, but it was like the worship of the moon. And the reason elections are held on Tuesdays is associated with the planet Mars, and the planet Mars symbolizes the god of war. You're going to war, fighting, by the way. So that's why many elections are held on Tuesdays, because Tuesdays is connected to the god, the planet Mars, and the god behind it. I have to find, like I said, get my notes. But this is some information I want to share with you guys down the road. I have been meaning to for a while, to break down religion. They no longer need religion to control people. Christianity was created around 322 AD. Some people say 325 AD. Look up the Nicene Council with Emperor Constantine. The Nicene Council with Emperor Constantine. They used religion. It was voted on at one time and used to control the masses. By the way, so understand that when we get these concepts of Jesus in modern day society, there was the letter J in the English language didn't come about till a certain time period. And from what I remember, the letter J, it was pronounced. That's why in Spanish they call Jesus Jesus, because it was pronounced Jesus. It wasn't pronounced the way that we know it today. As I have to brush up on my notes, but get Walter Williams' book, Historical Origin of Christianity. It's a good basis if you're a Christian and you're wondering where these concepts, these allegories, where they originate from. This God and the devil, those are archetypes. By the way, I'm not saying there's a scientific aspect. My mentor helped break down from quantum physics, because everything in this universe can be explained and can be broken down to the purest form where a 10-year-old can understand it, or someone in middle school. These things, concepts, because some people try to say, oh, you can't fathom God or the things of the universe. When certain people that have an interest, they're Christians, that you debate with. I've debated people in the past. They say, you actually can. That's why I'm subscribed to a lot of scientific channels. They explain the universe, a lot of things, and even the flat Earth people are at a certain level By the way, they don't even have all the information. By the way, because information is controlled. Some people believe the Catholic Church, if you've heard about a lot of those books that they're hiding, and then they will say there's certain entities will say they don't want you to have certain information under orders of national security. Because I was taught many years ago, God on the dollar bill, when it says "In God We Trust," God also stands for Government Ordnance Division. So "In God We Trust." These things are cryptic. And look up the movie National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. You'll understand these concepts. If you see the movie with Nicolas Cage, it'll help you connect the pieces of Become Red Pill. You got to watch The Matrix. Of course, understand those concepts, how they come about, these allegories, these metaphors and analogies, by the way. And you have, like I said, you have to study languages. There's way before this English language existed, there were other languages. But that's why Jesus in Spanish language, they call Jesus because of the way it was pronounced, because Spanish language is more, it's connected to, is derived from Latin. You know, there's a connection like with the French language, and there's parent languages. So what we speak in modern day society, the languages have a time period. It's how old they were. How long did, even though I'm speaking it, how long did we start speaking this particular language? You have to ask that question. If you don't believe what I'm sharing with you, look up, do the research. How long did the English language existed? We had other languages, the Rosetta Stone, because some of these things that you see commercials are twisted because the powers that be do things, put them in a way where the masses don't understand. But the Rosetta Stone listed some of the original languages on the planet. And I found out certain civilizations had the some of the oldest languages on the planet, like the Hindu people, or some of my friend calls the East Indian people, you know, with the red dots on their forehead. But there's different sects of ethnic groups within that culture or ethno-religion. For the Hindu people, they have one of the oldest civilizations on the planet and one of the oldest languages on the planet, just like the Manchurian people, where they spoke Pali and Sanskrit. If you've heard about the Ayurvedic chart, and some of these charts I consider more superior than the Western astrology chart. I love the Eastern chart, by the way. One of my secrets, I can actually break down how someone can find their soulmate and love. There's things that I can break down when I discover my friend who's in the Eastern medicine, Eastern philosophy, which is some scientists, doctors don't want to admit is superior. And look at their how they live longer. I learned the people in Okinawa when I started studying coral calcium years ago and the effects that it had, and was learning about the people, the culture that live in that region of the world. And they said this demographic of people live longer on a regular basis compared to other particular ethnic groups, by the way. So there's a lot of information, plethora that I could share, by the way. I'm going to acknowledge some of you all in the chat. Tanya Reynolds says, peace and love, Dorsey. Good to see you back. Multi Haystack said, hey, Dorsey, good to see you. By the way, appreciate you all for joining. But once again, the reason I'm doing this particular video to give an update on the topic is it's called Returning to YouTube After Rebranding Plus Alternative Web Hosting Platforms. Because some of my subscribers were not aware, or some people are still leaving comments. Just know I can't comment from this particular channel. I'll have to try to log in. I have to use my other channel. I have another channel. You can go ahead when you see that. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel. I probably will let you guys know down the road. I'll post it to my platforms, my other web hosting platforms, which I've reshared the links to my videos, and you can subscribe. And that's going to be my other backup from here on out, pretty much. So in case this channel's still around, but like I said, some may not be aware, I can't post links. If you guys know, if you leave a comment after this video uploads, I will not be able to respond from this particular channel. I have to log in and use my completely different channel and reply to you guys' comment in that capacity, by the way. So if you see that channel, you can go ahead and subscribe to that. That's where I'll be posting videos from to help grow that channel, build that channel up, and eventually probably get my vlogging channel I mentioned Alan's life, get that up and running down the road. So I just wanted to come before you guys. I haven't left you all. Appreciate you all, the love. And once again, I was going over my dear brother, Currency 365. Big shout out to, and one of the things he did and has done is reshare my videos. He helped me get me exposure out there despite the censorship. I appreciate the work and effort once again that he's done and been one of the few to acknowledge the work that I've done and show to show appreciation, by the way, and the generosity over there from the I'm trying to think of the name of that community, the Currency 365 crew, his community over there, his Patreon members. Big shout out to those people over there, by the way. So I haven't left you guys. I'm going to be around. So just know, maybe for the time being, it's going to be in a limited capacity. I will still probably be able to do videos over here, but I'm going to focus on my other channels because of what I just shared with you all. I can't log into the YouTube studio, so this channel, there's no telling what can happen because this channel was locked under the channel that they deleted, by the way. And I'm also, keep in mind, I'm also on Rumble, by the way, so you guys can check me out over there. So with that being said, just wanted to come before you guys and give you guys a heads up. Hold on for a second. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I am back. Okay, so yeah, so that's what's going on. I'm trying to think of any other updates. I did go over some of the other alternate web hosting platforms to join once again. I have on standby in case you have a large channel or you're a vlogger. It's always good to have a backup because you never know what can happen. You can also network with other like-minded people on these other platforms. So I went over Rumble, of course, which is a video web hosting platform that has grown exponentially. You have Getter, that's spelled Gettrr, maybe something like that. Gettr. You can look it up. It's similar to Twitter. It's called Getter. It's a large platform. You have Frank Speech, which is similar to Twitter. You have Truth Social, which I do have a channel on Truth Social at Dorsey's Resource, by the way. I haven't been logged in over there in a little while since a lot of this occurred, by the way. But I'm just giving you guys, sharing with you all the alternatives that you all have. So YouTube just doesn't have a sole monopoly. And these other platforms, if you're looking for good quality, independent information that's not heavily censored by the news or the mainstream media, and you want to get someone's actual perspective or difference of opinion, I suggest you head over to these other platforms. You can create a login username, have it on standby, because there may come a point in time where it may be harder to get some of this type of information for what's happening out here, to stay informed on many different things and many different fronts. And because the elites out there, which I've talked about, there's very bad people out here in the world. They have gatekeepers, they have minions that work beneath them, below them, and they don't have our best interest at heart. By the way, there's very bad, very, very, very bad corrupt people. And I've talked about this before and giving you guys an end game to prepare for the New World Order, the one world government. They've won, as Rockefeller mentioned many years ago when Aaron Russo did a movie called Freedom to Fascism to warn people what was happening. Rest in peace to Aaron Russo. And he told the story. You can look up how he befriended Nick Rockefeller, and Nick Rockefeller revealed to him what the elite's plan was. So this is stuff on the record. You also have, rest in peace to Pastor Lindsey Williams, who was a whistleblower who lived with the elite of the world By the way, was connected to the Bible Prophecy Club many years ago that I was part of. My mother used to take me to the meetings. That's how I'm familiar. Stan Johnson is still around, actually. If you go on YouTube, the Bible Prophecy Club, I remember years ago, I think my mom took me to see Prophet Dimitri Duduman. You had Prophet Chuck Youngbrandt that talked about the New World Order, the coming earthquakes. Uh, you had Prophet Ken Peters that talked about the mark of the beast, what the image would look like, the logo, things. You had William Shinoblin, who I remember I met. He wrote a book called Beyond the Light. He mentioned how he was a Mason, a traveling man. He was real high up. He said one of his mentors was one of the hidden men over each continent. So imagine that. He helped wake me up. He helped me connect the dots along with David Icke's books. David Icke's books, specifically Children of the Matrix. But I bought two other of David Icke's books. I had bought at Borders Books in Dearborn, Michigan, before Borders Bookstore closed down. I had David Icke's book, Alice in Wonderland, about the 9/11 conspiracy. I'm trying to think. I also had David Icke's book called The Biggest Secret, by the way. But it's a combination of David Icke's books, and specifically Children of the Matrix is one of my favorite David Icke books. I haven't gotten any of his newer books so far, but those three I had in my library, and Children of the Matrix, you can say, is my favorite. And that was really an eye-opener and helped me connect the dots, along with Prophet William Shinoblin, who was who years ago my mother took me to see him at a Bible Prophecy Club meeting. I think that may have been in Romulus, Michigan. I can't remember. And then she also separately, in October of 1996, when I was still in high school, she took me to the New World Order conference with my younger brother, Matthew, which I got a chance to meet former FBI agent Terry Cook at the time, who wrote a book about the New World Order. I ended up giving this book away. That was years later, in 2003, to family that I had met, because they had given me gifts at the time. So I felt I gave them, what I felt in my heart in return, a conscious family that I had met when I was waking up to sovereignty, and I was red pilled at the same time. I was double red pilled because I was waking up this conscious Afrocentric family that I met at the time was teaching me about my real heritage history. And then I had also woke up. That's how I found out about sovereignty, where they were having these classes at. And that's how I found out about that information. So I was double red pilled. I learned the truth about history, religion, and then what they were doing, how the elites had this hidden system that they created for themselves and the rest of the system to enslave everyone else. By the way, that's how I learned about that. That was many years ago. But that's to give you guys an idea. There's actual books that I have. I ended up having to repurchase William Shinoblin's book. He autographed my original book I had when my mother took me to that meeting many years ago. And I ran into a guy that used to train in my martial arts school at the time. So that had to be in the early 2000s at that time. I was already in college, by the way. So I know that was in a very early 2000 era. When I met William Shinoblin in person, and he wrote a book. His book was called Beyond the Light. If you can't find it, and maybe it's out of print, how I was able to find it, I bought it, I repurchased it off of eBay. If you're wondering how to find that book, it was called Beyond the Light by William Shinoblin. And it was an eye-opener. Him and David Icke's book, Children of the Matrix, helped wake me up. And then many years ago, when I used to visit the Truth bookstore at Northland Mall, it was like a Afrocentric bookstore. I knew Jelani and Nefertiti at the time. I showed them love. I bought Anthony C. Browder's book, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. It's another book will help break down what they did, how the Bible was basically plagiarized or simply a retelling of ancient civilizations. This is what Jordan Maxwell mentioned before he died. Rest in peace to the Godfather. That was his nickname, not to be confused with Kevin Samuels, but Jordan Maxwell was like a forensic historian into eschatology, astrology, along with Michael Tessarian, some of the early the people that were featured on the History Channel or specials many years ago. His work contributed to the sovereign movement as well, by the way. Many people may not be aware. Jordan Maxwell, I had a DVD. I want to try to find it. It would be good for newbies, for people that study that type of information, where he helped break down, because he was a forensic researcher, forensic historian. He studied astrology, eschatology. He grew up Catholic, and he knew history very well. And he explained how the Bible is a retelling of ancient stories. For example, the Sumerian civilization had a story of the flood account. By the way, in case you're wondering, the Sumerian civilization predated many other civilizations that existed. That's how we can tell when the Hebrew Israelites or these different groups are lying, which many of these groups are 501c3 organizations. I know my history, guys. I'm very well studied. And I have a team of historians that are more knowledgeable than myself that I can cross-reference. I can actually check with to find out the accuracy of information, because people were telling me about this Dane Calloway dude. I got my sources away. One of my sources, actually two of my sources, I can say for sure, are way much more knowledgeable than Dane Calloway. And one of my sources, actually, he showed me the actual videotapes from years ago where he went on the Astral Quasi tour. And he showed me the separate tapes when Dr. Ray Hagan went over there. So he's seen actual pyramids. That's something, once you get it on your resume, I'm just saying, putting it out there. So I know somebody through 6 degrees of separation, that showed me physically. I saw him in his library, and he can break down the allegories and the Bible. And, the book of Revelation means it's the book of apocalypse, by the way. And think about the Bible as a compilation of 66 books, and some books were not included. My mother even had a book I came across, still may have it in her library. I read some of it. It's called The Lost Books of the Bible. So I've also heard, remember now, there were certain books that weren't included. There was a book that allegedly Moses wrote called the Pentateuch, by the way. Then there was a book of Enoch. That was a famous book that was not included, the book of Enoch. And they said there were some reasons why these books were left out, because the scientists, remember, they needed religion to control people. So they needed to dumb you down to a certain level. They didn't want you learning this secret knowledge or this information about the planet or the universe, or connecting the dots about the giants that existed in Antarctica or different parts of the world, Agartha or Middle Earth. So they purposely removed these books from the Bible, the book of Enoch, to help keep you from connecting the dots. And even these ancient civilizations that existed, and they renamed them because when a conqueror takes over civilization, they conquer a people. Let's say they conquer the king or the queen, they take over the belief system, and they corrupt it, they bastardize it. You see, that's how it was explained to me, and that's what happened. How a lot of this history and stuff is watered down, because history is his story. Break the words down. Library is to lie and bury the truth. Library, lie and bury the truth. Attorney, let's break the word attorney down. To a turn, to twist. Look up attorney. A turn on you. Attorney, to turn, to twist. See, I learned there's a play on the words. You have to learn about the prefixes and the suffixes. You see? And look up the word legalese. Legalese means it's been used to replace plain talk, plain English. It's what they use in the legal system. Now, they want to keep the general public dumbed down. They want to have an advantage over you when you're hauled into court. And they use this magic and trickery. They cast spells when we say hello with the words that we use. We're used to casting spells. Hello. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is symbolic. Also, August was named after Augustus Caesar. July was named after Julius Caesar. I mentioned earlier, Monday, the day Monday is associated with the moon goddess Mona, which is associated with money. Tuesday is connected to the planet Mars, which deals with the war, fighting. That's why elections are held on Tuesdays. Wednesdays was connected to the god Odin, the worship of Odin's day. Wednesday. Thursday is the worship of the god Thor, like the comic book character Thor. That's Thor's Day. Thursday. Friday was named after Thor's wife, Freba, Friday. That's where we get Friday from. Saturday was named, of course, obviously after the planet Saturn, Saturnalian worship, which Jordan Maxwell talked about. That's why judges wear black robes. That's why many graduations, the garments are black. When people get married, you have a wedding ring. What is the planet Saturn? It has rings around it. The planet Saturn, look at the seat of symbolism. Sunday, what is Sunday named after? Worship of the sun. Sunday. You see, because and there's certain scriptures that break down what is the true light, the light of the world, what they were referring to. Acharya S, rest in peace to She was a forensic historian. She studied linguistics, archaeology, geology. By the way, she wrote some really good books. If you're wondering to understand, better understand the concept of the Bible, Christianity, where these concepts derive from. Also, Christianity was used during slavery times. By the way, I forget about this. One of the elders mentioned it wasn't called church. By the way, it was called Sunday go-to meeting. This is historical facts. There was during that time period, you had the slave revolts were starting to break out, because I found out Nat Turner was a preacher. He led one of the largest slave revolts with Denmark Vesey. He was a pastor or whatever, and they saw they could use Christianity as a form of control to keep the slaves in check. They wanted the slaves to be obedient. So the slaves, it was illustrated to me, and I'm still working on the elder trying to get the documentation. I did ask him for the supporting documentation, but the cross-reference, it appears it matches up, because when I grew up in the church and I studied under different people, I met Carlton Pearson in person as a child, and some people say he left the church, he went into New Age and stuff like that. Some people become more enlightened. By the way, he had a background in the church Pentecostal denomination, or the Church of God in Christ, just like I did. Pastor Ray Hagan, who started the Church of African Consciousness, had a background in the Church of God in Christ, which out of the Catholic Church, that comes out of the Protestant movement. Protestant was the Protestant movement. Methodist comes out of, they had another method. Lutheran, remember, he was the Protestant that went against the Catholic Church. He was banned. The monk, Martin Luther, the original Martin Luther of the Catholic Church. Remember, 100 years prior, John Huss was burned at the stake. But at the time, the Catholic Church, when Martin Luther was arrested and he was banished, they still allow him, but they used him. That's where you get the Lutheran doctrine from. You heard of the Lutheran Church? You get that from Martin Luther. It was named after him, Martin Luther, the Lutheran method. So the Catholic Church plays a major role. My friend's even so good, he can break down how the Catholic Church played a role in creating atheism. Atheists as well, they control that. And paganism. That's why many of these holidays and things are pagan. It's not a coincidence. As I mentioned earlier, July is named after Julius Caesar. August is named after Augustus Caesar. And I already went through the days of the week. So I do have documentation on that. Elder gave to me, another elder some years ago. It was called Fossilized Customs. By the way, I don't know where he got it from, but that's what it was called. And it had the information. It goes so far back in time. And some of my friends, one of my friends is a really good forensic historian, can explain how they can go back even further. As he explained to me how the East Indian people, Hindu people, have one of the oldest civilizations on the planet and one of the oldest languages where they spoke Pali and Sanskrit. He confirmed with me. Also the Manchurian people. And then the Kemetic people, by the way, I forget, ancient Kemet, which we call Egypt, Kemetic people had a pre-diagnostic civilization as well. Just like they mentioned with the dinosaurs, the other life forms that existed, there was a pre-diagnostic period. So there was like a prior ancient period to those people existing. So to cut through the lies of the Hebrew Israelites and many of these other groups that are 501c3 organizations that are file taxes with the government, our government control. That's how they control them, by the way. You have to do forensic investigation, forensic research, and it will point you when you get really good. And you may have to team up with someone that you humbly acknowledge is more advanced than you are, and compare notes. And I was, throughout the years, as long as I've known my sources, my contacts, and we're honest about our knowledge and things we know, what we don't know. And I've been able to connect a lot of pieces. And my friend, all of us have books. And I have like 3 of my friends very, very knowledgeable. I haven't spoke to one of them in quite a while. I would like to catch up to. He actually gave me a book recently. It's been a while ago on a whole nother topic. I won't go over that right now. He's a historian as well, very knowledgeable. Even has a book, showed me a book years ago showing the giants that existed. he showed me a book that showed an actual alien. By the way, I was blown away. In the book, he had, I don't remember the name of that particular book. I'll have to ask him again or whatever. And if you just heard recently, some congressman or somebody just gave a speech and said they confirmed that there's UFOs or unidentified flying objects do exist, and they consider some type of threat to maybe national security or whatever. I don't know all the details. I don't really touch on that per se because it's hard to prove, and it gets more esoteric for people when, you know, people get in debates or say, I don't, you know, I know some people like to hear that information, but some of my subscribers don't. I know some of my subscribers contacted me privately and said they wanted to know more information about the books and stuff that I shared in the past. So that let me know there were people interested in the information. A lot of people actually, and a lot more people are waking up to the information and finding out there's many lies and stuff we were taught in grade school in the school system. I call the public fool system, by the way, because they're not teaching you the real information, teaching you correct information. They're teaching you how to be a good slave, how to obey massa. They're not teaching you what the elites learn about creating generational wealth or trust, private banking, common law express trust, or sovereignty, how to gain freedom or becoming self-governed, things of that sort, to teach you the real true information, not this fake stuff that's teaching you how to work for somebody, work you to the bone and be a good slave. So with that being said, I've said a mouthful so far. Appreciate it, you all joining me, those thus far, and rocking with the channel. But I just wanted to come before you guys, give you all a heads up. I'm back, and yeah, we're gonna go from here, and that's it. So until next time, the marathon will continue. Legends never die; they live in our hearts. You guys have a great, wonderful evening, and I'll join you next time. May the force be with you. Adios, arrivederci, sayonara, signing out. Shalom, inshallah, peace.